Page 159, you want to read? It's a lawyer thing.
If a person gives his friend money or articles for safekeeping and does not pay him for his services, and they are stolen from the man's house, then if the thief is found, he must pay twofold to the owner.
Okay, yeah.
If the thief is not found, the homeowner must approach the judges if he is challenged by the owner to swear an oath that he has not laid his hand upon his friend's property. And then he is exempt from compensation since he was not paid for his services.
There you go. He was not paid for his services, and it was stolen, and he didn't do it. As long as it proves that he was not the one who stole it, he will not be responsible for the property. Continue.
In every case of dishonesty, when swearing an oath, whether it is about an ox or about a donkey or about a lamb, about a garment, or about any lost article, the witness will say that this thing here is the very thing which you swore about saying that it was not in your possession. Then the claims of both parties shall come to the judges, and whoever the judges declare guilty must pay twofold to his friend.
Okay, that's not so connected to it, but the point is, we learned so far about the unpaid guardian. The unpaid guardian, he comes, he swears that it's not his fault, he didn't steal it, and as the Talmud says, he didn't. There is no negligence involved. If he left the car unlocked, he's responsible. It's like stealing. You're inviting the thief to take it. Then he's not responsible. He doesn't have to pay for it. Now comes the number 2, the paid guardian. Go ahead, Mark. If a man, number 9.
If a man gives his friend a donkey, an ox, a lamb, or any animal for safekeeping, and pays him for his services, and it dies, breaks a limb, or is captured without witnesses, then the dispute between the two of them is decided by the guardian swearing an oath to God that he did not lay his hand upon his friend's property to use it for himself. Its owner must accept the oath, and the guardian does not pay. However, if it is stolen from him, he must pay its owner.
Now, for normal things, stolen things, he has to pay. If it was something unusual, it died, or something that was not completely not foreseen, it's not something you can protect from, he's not responsible. That is responsible for partially. For stealing, is responsible. For normal things, is responsible. For an act of God, is not responsible. That's a paid guardian. That's number 2. Now, we'll go to the number 4, basically. Straight to number 4.
If the animal is torn apart by a wild beast, he may bring witnesses to prove that he was not negligent with it. And then he does not have to pay compensation for the torn animal, so long as he could not possibly have saved it.
Okay, it is still the continuation of number 2, you understand, of the paid guardian. Mm-hmm. If he couldn't control it, he couldn't help it, he's not responsible. He takes money for something that makes sense, for foreseeable things, something he can protect. Something he cannot protect, he cannot pay him for it. He cannot help it. Now comes the borrower. We spoke here straight about the borrower. Cindy?
If a person borrows an animal from his friend and it breaks a limb or dies, and its owner is not working for the borrower, he must pay compensation. If its owner is working for the borrower, he shall not pay. If the article was hired, it came into his possession for his hiring fee.
Okay, then that's the last one. But the first one, he speaks about the borrower. The borrower is somebody who borrowed something for his own use. He's responsible for everything. I didn't pay the owner anything. I took it from him. He did me a favor. I took it out of my complete responsibility. Then whatever happens to it, it's my responsibility. The last line is talking about a renter. A renter, he rented it, he paid for it, that because he paid for it, he's only responsible for foreseeable things. If it's stolen or things like this or lost, he's responsible. If it's an act of God, he's not responsible. Then basically, the paid guardian and the renter have the same laws. You understand what I'm saying? They have the same responsibilities. There are 2 different categories, but the same responsibilities. Then we have the unpaid guardian, is not responsible for anything, only for negligence. The borrower is in the other extreme, is responsible for everything, no matter what will happen. And in between, there is 2 people who are responsible for a half. For stolen and loss, they are responsible. for act of God are not responsible. This is the paid guardian and the renter. Very nice things, a little complicated, good for lawyers. And then you sit and you think yourself, okay, I'm not responsible. What do you want from my life now? I want to learn Bible to get inspired. What does this mean to me? Then let's go back to page 159. There is a classic question. What are the four guardians? Let's first learn what are the four guardians.
If a person gives his friend money or...
No. You see underneath the line, what are the four guardians?
There are four guardians. The unpaid guardian, the borrower, the paid guardian, and the renter. The unpaid guardian swears on all losses and absolved. The borrower pays for everything, and the paid guardian and the renter swears in the case of breakage, robbery, and death, and pay for loss and theft.
Then it sums up. The unpaid guardian is not responsible for, is only responsible for negligence. The borrower is responsible for everything. The paid guardian and the renter for loss and theft. They are responsible for act of God, for debt and robbery and breakage. They are not responsible. Now, Chassidus takes it, the Rebbe takes it to a different level, on a spiritual sense altogether. You know what the guardians? No, what type of property we are talking about? God created the world, and He's the owner, and He has a lot of property. Ganze Welt, a whole world of property, and He put guardians in this world. Me and you and you and you and you and all of us. We are born to the world to be guardians of God's property. Number one, my body is not mine. You know that? It's not mine. It's on loan for God. Therefore, we cannot tattoo it or do anything whatever we want. It's not mine. My possession, God gave it to me. But I'm a guardian. Now, what type of a guardian I'm going to be is up to me. Then in this world, there is also four types of guardians. There is unpaid guardians, there are paid guardians, there are renters, and there are borrowers. We'll start with who is the most righteous guardian? What do you think?
Teachers?
Unpaid.
The unpaid guardians.
Teachers.
Right? Talking about the four types. The unpaid guardians, right? Why? The unpaid guardian is like this. He's a Jew or a human being. Doesn't have to be a Jew. A human being who is here to guard the work of God, to protect the world of Hashem. He will do all the right things. He will protect the universe, the environment. He's green, he's yellow, he's doing all the right things. He will protect people. He will protect the words of God. He will make sure people do the right thing. People know that there is a God. And he doesn't expect to be paid. He's unpaid. He never even entered his mind that he has to be paid for it. He's an unpaid guardian. He doesn't say, God, what's for me? Never entered his mind. This type of a guardian is not responsible only for negligence. God doesn't demand from him anything because he doesn't demand anything from God. He's here completely for the service of God. He never crossed his mind, God, what's about me? When I'm going to be rewarded? Why should I not have a good life? I do such good work? No, he knows he's here for God. He's here to serve Hashem. That's it. That God also, whatever he can do. As long as it's not negligent, God absolves him from many responsibilities. That's the unpaid guardian. Then comes the paid guardian. The paid guardian is also a good person. He also knows that he's here for the sake of God. But you know why what? And he's doing mitzvahs. And he's helping the poor. And visiting the sick. And protecting the environment. And he's doing all the right thing. And animals, everything. But he says, God, it's not fair. I don't deserve a good life. Why not? I should have a good life. I deserve something good. I want something in return. This person is a guardian. He considers himself a guardian. But you ask him, he thinks he's a paid guardian. He wants payment. God says, okay, you want payment? Fine. Then you have a bigger responsibility. Then your responsibility is bigger. The more you want back, then you are responsible for stolen object, for lost object. But for act of God, you're not responsible. For things behind your control, you're not responsible. Because you are unpaid, because you consider yourself a guardian, you get reward, you want reward, but you do it, you are here with the mindset that you are here for the sake of God. That's the paid guardian. Then comes, we'll go all the way to the borrower. The borrower, now there is the renter and the borrower. You see the difference between the guardians, they are here for the owner. They are here to guard for the owner. Paid or unpaid, but they are here for the owner. The renter and the borrower is for themselves. Or they're renting and they're paying for it, or they're borrowing it and they're not paying at all. But they are for themselves, they are not for the owner. The renter and the borrower are people who live in this world. They are not here to guard God's business. They don't care. They are here for themselves. They want to enjoy life. The only difference between these two is like this. The renter knows he has to pay for it. He says, I want to enjoy life, but I know God is the boss. I better throw a few mitzvahs in. I better do a few mitzvahs. If I could get away without doing any mitzvahs, I would be happy to. But I know that this is the deal. I have to pay. He's like a paid guardian, but the attitude is a different one. You understand what I'm saying? He thinks about, he starts from himself. It doesn't start from God. He starts from himself. I want to enjoy life. Now I know the deal is that I have to do something for God because I have to pay. I cannot get it for free. That's a paid guardian. That's a renter. The renter has the same rules as a paid guardian. He's responsible for stolen and for losses, but is not responsible for an act of God. Then there is the borrower. What's the borrower? The borrower is a guy who is here in this world. He couldn't care less. He wants to enjoy life and he's not ready to pay for it. He does not ready to do mitzvahs. He's not ready to care for God's business. I don't care. I just want to enjoy life. This guy is responsible for everything because he's here for himself. He's not here for God altogether. Then these four categories of guardians, unpaid guardian, paid guardian, renter, and borrower, are suddenly become very personal. They are very relevant to my own life. That I can, in one day, I can become unpaid guardian. In 1 minute, I'm an unpaid guardian. A minute later, I'm a paid guardian. A minute later, I'm a borrower. You understand? It's not like 4 different people. It depends what state of mind I am. When I'm standing in shul on Yom Kippur, I'm an unpaid guardian. I say, God, I'll do anything for you. I don't want anything. That's a very high level that I say I don't want anything. Most of us are not like this. We're not going to even go there. But for a moment, I'm a borrower. I just want to enjoy life, and I don't want to give any. I don't want to pay for it, so to speak. And sometimes I'm a renter. I'm ready to pay a little bit. Sometimes I'll be a paid guardian. Between the renter and the paid guardian, the level is very short. The line is very thin. What I mean to say is, taking a concept that speaks about for lawyers, they should be taught in law schools. What would be the law for paid guardian? Really, a regular person says, I'm not a lawyer, what I care, I'll go to the court, I'll decide. I'll look up at the law. It's good to know, but it's all to take it and to say to yourself, what can I do with it? Now we learn this, what we just learned, we learned it from inside, the spark of Hasidus. Go ahead.
The unpaid guardian represents the individual who feels that he was only created to serve God. He sees his life and possessions as divine property, which has been placed in his trust, and he does not feel that God owes him anything in compensation for his efforts.
That's a righteous man. He doesn't think God owes him anything for compensation. God's entrusted him with a whole world in his hand to do good, to take care of it. And that's what he's doing. He's trying to do the best. The borrower, that's the other extreme now goes. Continue.
The borrower benefits from what he borrows, and the owner enjoys no benefit. This represents an individual who seeks self-fulfillment alone. He does not feel that he owes anything for the use of life's blessings, even though he may acknowledge who the ultimate owner is.
He knows God is the boss, yeah? And he wants to enjoy all life, but he's not ready to pay for it anything. He's a borrower. This guy is responsible for everything. Then comes, go ahead.
The renter resembles the borrower in that he prioritizes the fulfillment and enhancement of self, but nevertheless, he feels that he ought to earn this privilege by also serving his Creator.
He is like the borrower. He thinks about himself, but he knows he has to pay for it. That's a different. That is a little better. The paid guardian.
The paid guardian is like the unpaid guardian in that he sees the fulfillment of God's will as the ultimate purpose of life. He differs only in that he reserves for himself a small amount of self-interest, feeling that he also deserves some independence in return for his work as a guardian of God's property.
Then basically the paid guardian and the renter are the same thing. Just the attitude is different. The paid guardian knows that he's a guardian of Hashem, but he's ready to, but he wants something for it in return. The renter thinks about himself. It's only a question where you start. I am the center of the universe, or God is the center of the universe. By the guardian, God is the center of the universe. And he guards God's need, but he wants to be paid for it. By the renter, he is the center of the universe, but he knows he has to pay to God for it. That's one example how we take a law in the Torah, a dry law in the Torah, and we apply it to our own life. And every day when we wake up in the morning, we have to ask ourselves, are we borrowers or are we guardians? That's the question. What am I? I'm here to enjoy life and just a matter from time to time pay a few dollars for the rental fee? Or I'm here a guardian of God's possession in the world? And when you look at it in this way, suddenly this law that looks like not relevant is very relevant to me every day in my life. That's one thing that we learn from the Bible, how the Rebbe looks on the law in the Torah. We will learn now about Torah from the books of prophets that we learned it a few times in the past, but I'm sure not everybody learned it and not everybody know that, and it will not be a bad idea to review it, and we'll see how we take a regular story from the prophet and suddenly it becomes a conversation between God and the Jewish people. Go back to the book of Genesis, page 370. Book of Genesis. Yes, you have the right book. You have the right book too. Page 370 in the bottom. This story is a prophet about the prophet Elisha. Was a woman. There was a prophet with the name of Obadiah. Obadiah, they lived 3,000 years ago, around 3,000 years ago. It was a time that the king of Israel, it was a time when Israel, the kingdom of Israel was divided into two kingdoms. It was the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. The kingdom of Israel, the king was there, a wicked king. And Ahab was his name, right? Ahab. And Ahab and Isabel, his wife, she was not Jewish, right? And she hunted all the prophets at that time. She wanted to kill all the prophets. And Obadiah, the prophet Obadiah, hid 50 prophets in one cave, in another 50 in another cave. He was Isabel's brother, I think. I think so. He was a convert, I think, Obadiah. And he was able to get around, and he was hiding 50 prophets in one cave, and another 50 in another cave. And he spent all his fortune of saving them. And when he did not have enough money, he went to borrow money from his brother-in-law, from the king himself. The king didn't know why he's borrowing money. And one day Obadiah died. And the king died, I think the king died too. Yes. And the king's son became the king. And now Obadiah left a wife with 2 children. And she owes money. Her husband borrowed money. The king, the new king, is sending a message to the wife. You give the money, is good. And if not, I'm taking your 2 children as slaves. She owes money. He doesn't care. He died, he didn't die. Pay the money. And the widow of Obadiah, the prophet, is lost. She has 2 kids and huge amount of debt. And she doesn't know what to do. That she went to the prophet of the generation at that time. His name was Elisha. Very famous prophet. And that's what the story of the Torah starts. Now we'll read from inside. Go ahead. a certain woman that was Obadiah's wife.
A certain woman, one of the wives of disciples of the prophets, cried out to Elisha, saying, Your servant, my husband, has died. You are aware that your servant feared God. Now Yoram ben Achav, the creditor, has come to take my 2 children as slaves for himself.
Okay, she comes to the prophet Elisha and she tells him, your husband died. And now the creditor, the new king, Yehoram, the son of Achav, the creditor came to take the money back. And if he came to take the children as slaves because they don't have money to pay him. That's what she tells him. She came to Elisha, she came to the Rebbe, to the Tzaddik, help me, what should I do? Okay, Elisha said
to her, What can I do for you? Tell me what you have in a house that a blessing can rest in.
He told her, a tzaddik to give a blessing, he needs something physical, something there to start from somewhere. So is there anything left in the house? They have a blessing. I can give you a blessing. If you have this, you'll have more this. What do you have in the house?
She said, Your maidservant does not have anything in the house except a jug of oil used for anointing.
Okay, she says, I have a little bottle of oil left. Okay, the prophet said, there is something there. A little bottle of oil. You want to continue? Number 3, he said,
Go and borrow containers from those who are outside your house, namely from all your neighbors. Empty containers. Don't ask for just a few. Then enter your home and shut the door behind you and your sons, and pour the oil into all these containers. Once they are full, remove the filled ones and replace them with empty ones, because the jug will be like a fountain.
Okay, he tells her, go home, borrow many containers, and bring it home. Go in and shut the door. And start to pour the oil. That's what he tells her. Continue.
She left him and closed the door behind her and her sons. They would bring the empty containers to her so she would not have to move, and she would pour. When the borrowed containers were all full, she said to her son, Bring me another container. There aren't any more containers, he said to her. Then the oil stopped flowing.
Let's stop right here. She told them, she went home, and the Torah and the prophet mentions again, and she shut the door. Usually in a story you don't write about shutting the doors. And he sat down, and he had a stomachache. How about the window? Why the prophet made a point to tell her shut the door, and then the prophet mentions again, and she actually shut the door? What do you think?
Didn't want the neighbors to see.
Why? Very good. Why?
Because the flow was endless. It was going to be as long as there was a vessel to fill.
There is an evil eye. You don't want anybody to give you the wrong one. Shut the door. If you want a blessing to be there, you want a miracle to take place, close the door. Less people see, the better it is. Because people have jealousy, and jealousy awakening judgment, and who knows what will happen. Shut the door. That's number 1. We learned that we spoke last week about the evil eye a little bit, and we didn't finish, but this is the other place we learn from it. We read, because he tells her to shut the door, and then she actually shuts the door. Twice it's written. Who needs it? Then he says, she asked, when the flow of the oil stopped.
When they ran out of containers.
Let's read it again, these 2 lines. She told, when she said, bring me another container, when it stopped, the next line. There are not any more containers, he said to her. Then the oil stopped. When he said there is no more containers, then the oil stopped. Human beings mess up their own blessings.
There was no more container.
Who asked you to say that there's no more containers? Who needs your help?
The door is shut.
My father once, my father told me that every time, don't predict the bad side. Because when you're predicting it, you're making it happen. But if not, who asked you to say if not? If not makes it happen. You're creating already the reality, the beginning of a reality. Words, as we spoke before, words are so powerful. And once my father needed to do for me something very important, I told him, but if it's not, he tells me, you killed it. He was right. He went there to do it for me. It didn't work out that time. He tells me, who asked you to say, oh, if not? She said, because when the child said, there's no more containers, then the oil stopped. It's not when the oil stopped and me, when the blessing stopped and me stop it. Then what happened? Continue. She left. No.
She came.
She came, yeah.
She came and told the godly man what had happened. He said, "Go and sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons will live off the remaining money."
That's the end of the story. Now tell me, why she went to tell? She went to the man of God to tell him what happened. She said she needs a blessing. She came. She said, "Rebbe, give me a blessing." He gave her the blessing. Why she came again to nurture him? What she want from him?
She want to thank him at that point.
Doesn't look like she want to take him. That's an American way of thinking, but I don't think she want to take him. Why she came back?
She wanted to know what to do with the oil.
What you would really do? If you would have oil, what you do in your whole $1 million, what would you do? You would sell it, right? Takes a genius, tell me. What was the question?
Thank him.
She wanted to thank him, huh? She didn't want to take him. And he tells her, go and sell it. Go and sell it means she wasn't sure to sell it or not. What was the question? She begged for a miracle, huh?
She needed guidance.
Why?
direction.
You need a miracle. You say, you come to the tzaddik, say, I need money. I only want to take away my kids. He say, okay, what do you have oil? You left now oil enough forever. You have oil. What do? You need money, right? You don't need oil, right? What do you do with the oil? You sell it, you get back, you make the money, you go pay off your debt. Why she came back to the tzaddik, to the prophet? What you want
Oil's
to
for somebody else and not for her.
She needed a miracle. What are you doing for
She
somebody else?
wanted more oil.
She came to ask him, should I sell now? Or I should wait till the price go higher?
She was a commodities broker.
Should I sell the stocks now? Or should I wait later? You know what the prophet told her? Sei nicht kein Chazer. Hashem made you a miracle. Sell it. Don't come kai later. The question that we $1 million question, everybody, should I sell now? Should I not sell now? That was the question, and that was the answer. She sold it. Everything was good. She had money enough to live forever. That's a story that happened 3,000 years ago. Fine. I can read the story and say, nice story. What do you want from my life? Now we'll take the story and we'll learn it how the Rebbe learns it, how Hasidus learns it. It's a whole different story. We'll go back to the beginning. A woman, a certain woman. Who is the woman? You know who the woman is?
The wife
Of whom?
of the prophet.
Israel.
The Jewish people.
Okay.
Israel is the woman
Yeah.
of God. We are the woman. Isha Achas, one woman, a form of God. The woman, the Jewish soul, the Jew, who is from the sons of the disciple of the prophets. All Jewish people are considered disciple of prophets. The Talmud says if we are not prophets, we are like disciple of prophet. It means to say, we have a certain level of prophecy. When you see all the Jews do something, there is something from above comes, who tricks them, who pushes them this direction. There is a whole Talmudic story, we're not going to all details. Then with Hillel, he became the leader, right, on Pesach. Right, when it was a question if you can offer the Passover on Shabbat. Right? You know the story? And then they had a question, how they're going to bring the knife to the temple. How are they going to carry the knife? And basically, finally he said, if the Jewish people are not prophets, they are disciples of prophets. They are Bnei Nevim. Go after them, see what everybody else is doing, you'll figure this out. They will all together will figure things out. That the Jewish people are considered like not prophets, but they're robbing close to this.
Translated, if you can get Jews to agree on anything, it must be prophecy.
Absolutely, it's a miracle. Then the Jewish people are coming they cry out to Elisha. That was the name of the prophet. But what is Eli alone? Eli.
My God.
God, my God. Eli means my God. Elisha. Yesha means the God of salvation. Suddenly, it's not a story with a woman who lived 3,000 years and a prophet lived 3,000 years. It's a story of me crying out to God. What I'm crying to God, what I want from God. I come to God and I tell him, my servant, my husband died. You know what the word that shows in the prophet here for a husband is ishi. What is ishi means? Could mean husband. And ishi, eish. What is eish?
Fire.
Fire. Ishi means my fire died. My love to God have died. Is dead. I used to love God. I used to be excited about davening. I used to be excited about doing mitzvahs. Gurnished. Nothing. Nothing is left. My love to God has died. That's what the Jew is crying out to God. And the creditor, who is the creditor? The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the world, the outside, the other side if you want, comes to take the two children as slaves. You know the children now? I'll tell you something interesting. Every person has love and fear, right? Why you love certain things and why you fear certain things? What do you think? Why is a child is not afraid of hot water? Because he is brave?
He doesn't know.
Because he doesn't understand that hot water can hurt him. Why a child does not love $1, he loves a candy? Because he's smarter than us? No, because he doesn't understand that $1 is better than a candy. That love and fear comes from here, from understanding. I feel things that I understand are not good for me. Yesterday I didn't know they're not good for me. I was not afraid of them. Tomorrow I tell you, this water is contaminated. Oy, 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 oy. What happened yesterday? You were not afraid. You were brave? No, you didn't know. It's not good. That love and fear is an outcome of your thinking, of your intellectual capabilities. Then your intellectual capabilities are called father and mother, chokhmah and bina, wisdom and understanding are the father and the mother who give birth to feelings, to love and to fear. Then love and fear are called the children. In Kabbalah, love and fear are the children, wisdom and understanding are the parent, love and fear are the children. Chokhmah is the father, Bina is the mother, Ahava and Ira is the children, love and fear. Two children, like everybody has two children, right? Love and fear. Then he says, now the conversation is like this. The Jew comes to God and tells him, my fire to you, my love to you is dead. And the creditor came and took the love and fear. I used to have love to God and fear of God. Now I have love of of ice cream and fear from the government. You understand? Then the love and fear turned. I used to love God and fear God. Now I'm busy with physical things. And the love of God is dead. I'm standing in shul with the siddur open. I turn to God, look at God and say, God, it means nothing to me. I used to be very excited to come here. I used to be full of excitement about Judaism. Nothing. Dead. Empty. I don't know what to do. The furnace is out. God is asking you, Elisha is God, right? Elisha tells the woman, tell me, what is anything left in the house? Anything in your heart? Anything left? You don't have love. Maybe a fear. You don't have fear. You're doing some mitzvahs. No, I'm not doing anything. Nothing. I have nothing. But you know what there is left in every Jew? A little bottle of oil. There is a spark of Judaism. It's called a pintaleid. The spark of the Jew. This is left in every Jew, no matter who he is. Something that you cannot take away from him. Why is it compared to oil? Because oil, it's not a revealed thing. You look on the olive tree, you don't see oil. How you get the oil? So squeeze it. It's hidden. You don't see it, but you have to squeeze it. To squeeze the oil out of the Jew, you have to give him a big gog and give him a squeeze and get the oil out of him. The oil is something that's there, that the Jew himself doesn't know that he has the oil. that he says, I don't have anything. God said to him, no, you have a little bit of oil, right? A little bit. There is something there. That's why you still cry out. Why you cry out? If you don't have anything, why you care? Why are you still standing in front of God? God, I don't have love to you. What do you care? Go have fun. If you care, it means that you have something there. You know, we used to stand in Manhattan or in Israel, ask a person, are you Jewish? Many people said no. Jewish people. We saw no, not the Jewish. And then they came back and screamed, yeah, I'm Jewish, but I don't want to put on film. Why he came back? Why are you getting upset? Because he couldn't forgive himself that he said he's not Jewish. It bothered him. I saw, a guy who couldn't care less. Said, no, I'm not. He moves on. He doesn't care. There is something there. He cares. If you tell him that he's not Jewish, he will be you're not Jewish enough. He will even be insulted. He will be hurt. He will never forgive you. There's something there. You come to scream out to God. Obviously, there is a little bit of oil. God says, you know what? You have a little bit of oil. Don't worry. You know what you should do? Go out and borrow empty vessels. You know what it means to do empty vessels? Every mitzvah is a vessel. What means an empty vessel? When I put on film, I don't think about it. It's an empty vessel, so to speak. There is no kavanah. There is a statement in the Talmud, mitzvot bli kavanah, a mitzvah without the intention, keguf bli neshama, like a body without a soul. You created a mitzvah, the body, but there is no soul, there is no love, there is no excitement there. And you say, well, I'm going to make empty vessels. Or I don't believe in it. Why should I do it? I don't believe in it. Why should I put on film? I don't believe in lighting candles. Why should I do it? If I believe it, I will do it, but it doesn't mean anything to me. God says, don't be such a big chacham. Go collect empty vessels. Don't worry. Don't worry, it's empty. Yeah, I know it's empty vessels. Don't worry about that. Do it anyway. Because when you do empty vessels, the empty vessels will awaken the barrel of oil to come out and to connect. The way to connect to your inside, to your inner Jew that's inside you, deep down, covered up and hidden and buried, is by doing things. If anybody thinks that he will sit at home and one day he will get an awakening, is mistaken. In other religion, people tell of such stories, not in Judaism. The way in Judaism to connect to your inner Jew is by doing things. I'll do one mitzvah, and another mitzvah, and a third mitzvah, and a fourth mitzvah. Eventually, I will connect to my inside. Eventually, I'll become excited about it. My love to Judaism will come back. My love to God will come back. That's what he tells them. Go and collect empty vessels. And the miracle of the oil, this little bottle, will start to pour. And suddenly will be love of God and fear of God. And will be so many that you will be able to sell it. You'll be able to inspire other people. You'll be able to give it, to share it with others, and be enough for you too. And actually, the best way to be inspired, the Rebbe said, is by inspiring others. The safest, when you're guaranteed to be inspired, when you have to share it with others. Think about it. Whenever you have to explain a mitzvah to somebody else, you identify with the idea. Suddenly you realize how much it's a part of you. If you give somebody a lecture about lighting candles, and you tell them how important it is, suddenly it becomes so important to you, it becomes a part of you. You're defending it. The way to be inspired, the way to connect to your own oil is by sharing the oil with others. They'll be enough forever. That suddenly this story that happened 3,000 years about a woman and the prophet Elisha is not about a woman, not about Elisha. It's about me and God. I have a conversation with God. I don't have love to God. God tells you, go out, collect empty vessels. Don't worry, it's going to come back. And it comes back.
So these would be allegorical readings then.
That would be a deeper level of reading. It's not allegorical, it's a deeper level of reading. That means we don't deny the literal sense, but we apply this reading to our own life. And in every line in the Bible, in every story, in every law, you can find these things. Shoftim v'shotrim, you should appoint judges on your gates. Which gates are you talking about? Your ear, your nose, your eyes. That's the gate. You should appoint everything in the Torah is this. One of the Rebbe's main things in teaching Torah is to apply every piece in Judaism to your own life, because then you walk away with something. It's not something intellectual, that's a very nice thing I learned, and I go to move on with my life the way I want. But the whole purpose of the Torah, what the word Torah means? Directions, a way of life. If the Torah is not a direction for me how to behave, then we miss the point. That's what it's all about.
Torah is a manual.